Yes, MME Exchange. Right now on Metro FM Talk.
Now, we continue to have conversations with different organizations that are meant to assist small businesses in South Africa. These are organizations that you, as a small business, you definitely will need to contact if you have any dreams or any plans of growing your business and building a high-impact business. Tonight, we're talking about the Women Empowerment Fund by the National Empowerment Fund, otherwise known as the NEF. And joining us for that conversation is Senior Investment Associate at the NEF, Nomazizi Siphondo. A very good evening to you. Thank you so much for your time tonight.
Hi, Thami. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. And I guess I have to say, I wish you a prosperous and empowering Women's Month. May this month be the month that you assist as many women-owned businesses, more than you've done in the past. And I've just been looking through your record there, and certainly a stellar record. But I hope that this month is going to be even better as far as your performances are concerned.
Thank you so much. Thanks so much for that. We're up for the challenge, definitely. And I think throughout the interview, I'll be outlining some of the work we've already done at the NEF. But yeah, we're up for the challenge.
Awesome. I'm glad you game. You're such a sport. But maybe let's start here. Let's start first. Perhaps somebody's listening and they're not really familiar with the National Empowerment Fund. Talk us through what you do, who you are, what your mandate is as the NEF.
Thank you. So the mandate of the NEF is transformation and inclusion. It's to grow Black economic participation in the SME economy. And so we provide financial and non-financial support to Black-owned businesses, provide startup capital expansion and acquisition finance to businesses across a number of sectors. And this includes energy, property, construction, tourism, and manufacturing. Basically, our goal is to create Black industrialists. Our funding starts from 250,000 to 75 million. And in terms of non-financial support, so that includes mentorship, incubation, as well as training.
And I mean, how many transactions have you actually done as the NEF?
We've approved, so the NEF received an allocation of 2.4 billion in 2004. We got that allocation from our government. And we've managed to approve over 1,200 transactions with more than 12 billion, and the total project value was 21 billion. So we approved 12 billion, but we also managed to unlock co-funding. And of the 12 billion that we've approved, over 8 billion has been dispersed into the economy. And we've created over 100,000 jobs. 21,000 of these jobs being new. So, yeah, that's been the number of transactions that we've approved. We've unlocked third-party funding, and we've also created quite a number of jobs.
And who qualifies to be a beneficiary of the NEF's funding?
We fund Black-owned businesses. So, yeah, it would have to be businesses that are minimum 51% Black-owned. And also, it doesn't just stop there. So the businesses would also have to be black. So they would have to be managed by Black entrepreneurs. So we don't just look at ownership; we also look at management. And yes.
And as far as trading record of the business and the company is concerned, do you fund startups or only established businesses or businesses that have been existent for a certain number of years?
We fund both. We fund startup businesses, as well as existing businesses. So for startups, we'll fund new ideas as well as people wanting to get into sectors. So these are young entrepreneurs. We also fund existing businesses that are looking for expansion capital, as well as entrepreneurs that are looking to acquire existing businesses. So it's definitely all of the products that we have.
Now, you said that you provide financial as well as non-financial support. And obviously, when you are looking for any sort of financing, there'll always be a requirement for a business plan as well as projected, income statements, etc. Do you also provide support for perhaps entrepreneurs who may not be well versed or may not have access to, having a quality business plan put together and quality financials put together? Do you offer support in that regard as well?
So to respond to this, I'll talk to the partners that we work with as well as what the NEF does. We're kind of with a soul. So we do offer part, non-financial support. So it would be, in terms of mentorship. It would be in terms of just, offering guidance to entrepreneurs that don't necessarily have a full application file. So we would obviously talk them through what needs to be in the business plan and in terms of the projections that they need to submit. So we definitely stay close to our clients. There's also agencies that offer, a lot of non-financial support that we work with. But definitely, all of that support is provided to our entrepreneurs. So when we do walk into our doors, we never there isn't a rejection just based on the fact that you don't have a comprehensive application file. We definitely take you through. We also obviously got tools internally to make sure that the application file, by the time it reaches the deal maker, is comprehensive and it's worth, it can be looked at by the deal maker.
And is there a requirement for surety when one does make an application or when one is granted funding?
Absolutely not. The NEF was created to drive transformation and inclusion. So we understand the gaps in our economy. We understand why we're here. So definitely not. Our funding isn't structured in that way. So to respond to your question, definitely not. Especially since the applicants that come to our doors are young entrepreneurs. I'll make an example of one of our clients that we funded that also got a Black Industries Award just a few weeks ago. So when they walked into our doors, that was an unemployed entrepreneur. By the way, that business is also Black women owned. So they were unemployed, young entrepreneurs, and they wanted to get into the property development space. So they walked in with nothing, and we were able to guide them through no security. We were able to guide them through the process, and eventually they were funded by us, and we didn't just stop there. So we continue to mentor them. So we continue to make sure that there's enough co-funding to see the project through. And even after we disperse the funds, we continue to make sure that construction is completed on time, as well as just the running of the property now that is operational. So that's just one of the examples that one of the businesses that we have funded, and the examples that we can obviously talk about when it comes to the businesses that we funded.
And what are the repayment terms of the funding that is given? Is it a grant or is it a loan? Or an investment?
It's debt funding that the NEF provides. But again, we work with we've got a lot of partnerships. We partner up with a lot of departments as well as agencies and other institutions. So on our own, yes, as the NEF, we provide debt funding. However, there's grants through the DTI team. There's also concessionary funding that I'll also talk to just now, including the Women Empowerment Fund that the NEF is established. So while it might not be a grant, some of these funds are concessionary. So, for instance, the Women Empowerment Fund, we fund businesses. So this was established in partnership with the DTI team. And we fund women-owned businesses that are based in rural areas and townships. And this fund is priced at 1.5%, that's a fixed interest rate over a term of 5 years. And funding goes up to 10 million. So the NEF, provides funding of up to 75 million. However, because we want to be inclusive, we want to drive transformation, we then established the Women Empowerment Fund that's concessionary, and that looks at, providing funding to businesses that are women-owned. And, pricing is lenient and concessionary, understanding, the issues that we're trying to address in an organization.
And what led to the establishment of the Women Empowerment Fund within the NEF?
I can talk, maybe my view might be biased here, but the clients that we have, so our portfolio is 40% women-owned businesses right now. If you look at just our portfolio, and we found that, finding, the businesses that are women-owned are good, be good clients. Over and above that, it was just to increase the value and volume of support that goes to Black women-owned businesses. So, and also just to mirror, what the ethnic population looks like right now. I think that according to the latest stats, we're looking at about 61% of the ethnic population being women. And so we wanted to mirror that. We'd like to see that number increase from 40% to over 50%. So it was, just to increase the support that goes to women. And also because women-owned businesses are good clients to have.
And I wonder, what are the sectors where you feel women need to be playing in more, and sectors that you, as the NEF within the Women Empowerment Fund, want to actually help stimulate and support?
In the past, we've received quite a number of applications from the energy sector. There's been energy, property development, construction, as well as manufacturing. And, the businesses have done quite well, especially the ones in manufacturing and energy. And, we find every single sector. So, we basically open to, applications from any sector as long as, it's an application that is fundable and that's strong enough. And even then, we're open to providing non-financial support to get it there.
So can you share with us some of the highlights, perhaps businesses that you have funded that you look back at now and you think, wow, that was like a really great investment, or that was really great being involved in that particular women's business because of the outcome and the success that business has enjoyed because of your intervention?
I'll talk about two. So the one that I mentioned earlier, so the property development project, and, that bill came to us, it was brought to us by young people. I mean, it's a standing building now. It looks really good, but, the obstacles that the entrepreneurs had to overcome to get it there. To see it standing now and operational and doing well, is something to marvel at. The guys, they came to us and we provided them with funding. Even after they've been given funding, getting their plans approved took a while. We walked that process with them, and also putting together the technical team, because at the time they were not property developers, but we understood that they were not, but we were willing to give them more support, and they never gave up. It took us about 2 to 3 years after we had approved the transaction to get it to completion, to a standing building. And I like the fact that every single person that worked on that transaction, and by the way, the technical team on that transaction was purely Black-owned professionals. So we're talking about quantity surveyors, architects, and project managers. These are guys that were willing to work on this transaction, even understanding that it might not necessarily get all the approvals in the end, but we're all working towards the same goal of assisting the entrepreneurs that have started on this journey. So it's that one transaction, and we also funded a deal in manufacturing. So one of the transactions we funded is a woman-owned business, and that business is the only local manufacturer of platforms, of aerial platforms in South Africa and in the continent. That's funded by the NEF. It's gone on to do well. It's paid us back fully. And so these are two transactions that I can mention right now. However, there's a lot of successful women-owned businesses that we have funded, that we proud to talk about.
Nomazizi, it's been an absolute pleasure speaking with you tonight. I love the developmental aspect as well that you spoke about, and literally the hand holding and the guidance that you offer to those. You don't have to walk in a fundi, you don't have to walk in as an expert, but that you actually do provide the support for that. Thank you so much, very much appreciated. That's Nomazizi Siphondo, Senior Investment Associate at the NEF, the National Empowerment Fund. They also as she has mentioned, have a women empowerment fund within the NEF, and they are there to ensure that black businesses, and specifically black female-owned businesses, flourish.